and welcome to an increasingly milder Nova Scotia. For you guys who haven't visited before, my name's Steve Farley and welcome to my channel, The Optimistic Gardener. So as I said, things are starting to get a bit milder, the snow has buzzed off and spring is starting to throw out her beautiful growing warmth. I can actually start to get the fork in the ground now, it's softening up nicely, things are greening up, so everything's looking fine for the spring and summer ahead. We're all excited. I don't know if you can see behind me, I've actually just had 8 yards of earth, of topsoil delivered. So I'm all excited about that. I've already filled up the garden beds around me, which I'll be showing you later on. What I thought I'd do is start a bit of a garden diary. I'm going to trial out a weekly garden diary of all the things that I do in the garden, obviously, throughout the week, and start to build up a story of how the garden is growing and all the different areas and the planting and seeing how the flowers start to come into bloom and all those different jobs that happen throughout the week. I thought I'd put into short 3-minute segments and let's see how the story flows throughout the season. So this week is a bit of a cutting away the old and bringing in the new theme about it. So I'm cutting the Rosa Rugosa hedge, cutting back the grasses and pruning the evergreen and the deciduous grasses. I'll be pruning the honeysuckle ready for its growth, and these beautiful red tubular flowers and the hummingbirds to start fighting over for the different flowers, and a few other jobs that I haven't actually thought of yet. Oh, the piece de resistance for this week is me and my trusty part-time assistant Ethan are going to do our first planting of the year. We've got some rockets, or you guys in North America would call it arugula, some spinach and maybe some other lettuce to plant, so we're all excited about that. Hope you're going to join me for the program. So one of those important early spring jobs that I need to do before everything starts really growing is to give this hedge of Rosa Rugosa behind me a good haircut. There's nothing particularly surgical about it, I just need a pair of, well, if I'd have electrical hedge trimmers that'd be fantastic, but I haven't, so it's the old shears. Just give it a good haircut, tidy it up, any branches going out and about, and just give it a nice level, get it ready for all those beautiful pink flowers and that lovely smell later on in the summer. So I'll get on with it, shall I? That's that done. Like I said, there was nothing particularly surgical about it, and now the job is to try and remove all the dead wood, which without causing myself too much pain, and I'll give it even a bit more of a tidy up. But it's one of those jobs you got to do. Nice haircut for the rose, and on to the next job. So that other job is to prune this honeysuckle. I've had it about 2 years. It's honeysuckle Lonicera sempervirens, I think. It doesn't look much at the moment. Hasn't started its to come into leaf yet, but in the summer it has beautiful long red tubular flowers, and the hummingbirds actually absolutely love it. And it's really nice to sit here in the early morning before I go to work with a cup of tea and watch them twittering all around it, fighting each other to see who's going to get the best flowers. So pruning this is a bit more surgical than pruning the rose that I did earlier. I want to be tight. This is a good time to do the structural sort of pruning that you want to make sure, and tying in so that everything is going to be going where you want it to go, and it's all going to flow nicely, and you ain't got bits hanging around all over the place. So as always, you always want to be cutting. We want everything. Well, in this case, I want my honeysuckle to flow that way, and I'm eventually gonna, there's a roof side here, and eventually I want it to be running up along the side of the roof. So I want it to flow this way. So anything coming outwards, I don't want. So I'll be cutting that off, and always I'm going to be cutting just above a bud. So anywhere you see a little bud, as we can see there, a little bud either side, as we can see there, you want to cut just above it, so that if there's any dieback, it's only going to die back to the bud, and the plant will still stay healthy. So as I said, I'm going to keep going, tidying this up, and then obviously I've got some string here, and I'm also not just going to cut everything off, I'm going to tie it in, get it all nice and tidy. So that's that. Probably don't notice any difference, but I've given it a good tidy up, cut back some of the weak or the dead wood that you've seen from over the winter. All nice and tidy now. I can see lower down the vine itself that there's nice buds down there, so that it's not going to just be all top growth. There'll be some nice greenery coming all the way up and all the way round. And I've cut back some down lower down again to stimulate that growth from the base, so I've always got something new coming up and over. So that's another job done. So you don't get a lot to see in winter in the garden, especially in my garden at the moment, but one of the great residues of summer is obviously these beautiful grasses and the way they've thrown up their beautiful seed heads. And then in the winter you get the movement, and it's really nice on a frosty morning or against the backdrop of the snow. But one of the great jobs of spring, I suppose it's a bad job in the fact that I'm sad to see these go, but it's a great job because spring is here and the new growth is coming, so that's a fantastic thing. So one of the jobs of this week is to cut back the old growth on these grasses. So I've got some miscanthus, and I've got some blue fescue, and they're both treated in different ways when you sort of cutting them back and taking them back, getting rid of the old wood. So with this type of grass, the miscanthus and these, and the ones that basically die off in the winter, I can see the new green growth coming through here now. So what I want to do is cut back all this old growth down, making sure that obviously we're not going to cut off the new growth. So a good trim. And I can probably get a bit more surgical later on and get some of these bigger stalks out, but don't want to waste everybody's time. But basically we just want to cut it down to the making sure we're not cutting back the new growth. And here's another one. Just give that a good old trim. So let's have a look at the blue fescue and the more evergreen type grasses and how we deal with that. So this is blue fescue, it's an evergreen type grass. What we're going to do here is just basically comb through. See, look, that was easily pulled out. Just comb through to get all the dead grass out. Definitely don't want to be using your secateurs on this stuff, but a nice little comb through, get rid of all this dead grass, and then soon the beautiful new blue-green growth will be showing and looking lovely. Hello, and today it's a very exciting day in the Optimistic Garden because it's planting of our first vegetables of the year, and I'll be doing that with my trusty part-time assistant Ethan.
Hello.
And today we've got some spinach, some rocket or arugula as you guys in North America call it, and maybe some lettuce, but I think they may be just a bit underdeveloped. But what I'm also going to be doing, as well as planting up some of the baby plants, I'm going to plant some seeds alongside so we can have some succession planting, so they're not all used up at the same time. So Ethan, I'm going to I planted these about 6 weeks ago, and I've had enough of them knocking about the house, so I thought it'd be a good time now it's warming up nicely in Nova Scotia and you can work the ground. And obviously spinach, lettuce, and arugula, rocket love the sort of more mild temperatures, the cooler temperatures. As soon as it goes into the summer, they'll start bolting and trying to flower. So this is a really good time to get your these sorts of cool weather vegetables in. So Ethan, if I give you that one, that's just a not very well developed one, you hold that one like that. I'll do a little. So you want to plant them about 12 inches apart. Your spinach plants about 12 inches apart. So we'll get that one in there. Yeah, I'll drop that in there, son. So if we hold that, put that in. Very good. They're quite tough plants, so they can take a bit of a bashing as we put them in. I've filled this bed with manure, well rotted manure. Here, hold that, son. Ready? Put that in. You hold the leaf at the top. And I'll fill it around.
Hooray!
We should be able to get 4 or 5 plants in one row. Hold that, son. Ready? Got him, hold him. Another one got his home for the springtime. And again, this is all part of that, getting your children involved in growing the vegetables, understanding how things grow and where their food comes from, and that it's 10 times more healthy to be eating this food than it is from the supermarket. One of your favourites, spinach in it, son? One of these days it will be, mate. One of these days it will be.
You sure?
Yes. Right, here you go. Hold that one. Ready?
Hooray!
And what I'll do for the next week or so is I may drape them over with a bit of fleece, if it's a colder night, just to keep them nice and toasty until they get themselves settled in. Right, so we've got the spinach there. We're going to give them a good watering in a minute, and I'm going to make a nice shallow drill along here. And what have I actually got? So it isn't spinach I've got actually some arugula. So, you want to put some of these in?
Okay.
You go from your side. I'm going to take your gloves off for this job, mate.
Okay.
There you go. So hold your hands out. And just thinly spread them along there like that. So we'll just thinly spread these out, and then I'll thin them out once the stronger one comes up, and we thin them out to the usual about 12 inches. There we go. And then just give these a fold over, mate. Fold your side. And there we go. Doesn't look much. But in a few weeks' time, I'll be feasting off the beautiful nutty flavour from the rocket and some lovely spinach. So I'll give these a good water. Where's the watering can, shipmate? Here it is. Give her a good water.
Oh no!
The remote control just got watering. So we'll give these a bit more of a watering once we fill up. That's it. Nice one. First planting of the year. So there we go. First weekly garden diary of the year done. I'd seriously be interested in knowing what you guys thought of this format, and do you think it'll work going forwards? Be lots more to be showing now, obviously. This week was a lot about cutting back the old and introducing a bit of the new, like the new spinach plants, etc. behind me. But increasingly now it's all about new plants, new vegetables, new flowers, new areas, new beds. So lots to film. So let me know your comments, and if you liked it, click like. And for you guys that haven't subscribed, please click subscribe if you want to see more of the films, be knowing what's coming out. I've got lots and lots and lots and lots of material to do. So anyway, that's it for this week. My name's The Optimistic Gardener. See you later.